Last year, we traveled a lot. Like, not only that we saw a lot of places, but we went to some of the furthest destinations we've ever been. It was amazing. So my wife Anya and I took photos and videos all over the place. We're really happy with a lot of the stuff we created. And usually we're keeping basically the same camera kit. So I did a video while we were in Thailand about what's in my camera bag. I'll link to that video at the end of this one, but I've made so many huge improvements in the time in between that I had to share them with you guys. So first, we'll go over some of the quick small things that have stayed exactly the same, but there's been some big changes, especially in the camera department, that just make me so excited to get on the road again. So we've got a road trip coming up. I've got more room in my camera bag than last time. Let's get into it. First up is the AirFly. This is basically a little Bluetooth adapter, so you plug it into any headphone socket, and then you can use your AirPods. Connect them easily. It also works great for audio production. Peak Design wrist strap. I complained that it kept cinching, so I actually added gaffer's tape. Even though people tell me there's a lock on it, I never found out. I just put the gaffer's tape, and that's working for me. SanDisk SSD, fast drive to edit from, and then I had to pick up a new slow big drive as the archive because I fill these up every year. A small rig multi-tool. These are cheap, but have everything you need to adjust cameras. Always a pair of wired earbuds for monitoring audio. Lens cloth. Godox Lux JR Flash. It's small, compact, not very powerful, but fits in my bag. Rode Video Mic Mini, just simple little shotgun mic to put on the camera. And tons of SD cards. And that's all going to the Peter McKinnon Nomadic bag, which I still love. I do need a sling bag. Like, I could use another smaller bag, but this, I still like this as a larger everyday bag. All right, now let's get on to the exciting stuff. Oh, and also the Peak Design camera clip. Wireless mics have been updating fast. So these are the DJI mics. You've probably seen a lot of other people using them because they're just kind of the best. Maybe the biggest innovation here is just putting it in a big charging case, kind of like AirPods. It's your receiver and two transmitters are always ready to go. In case you haven't seen these before, awesome thing about it, I mean, it either adapts onto your camera easily, or you can switch out the back and mount it into either Lightning or USB-C so that it works with iPhones, Android phones. Consistent audio, however you like to record it. A lot of people just use the transmitters as mics and like clip them onto their shirt. But I'm not a big fan of how obvious that is, so I like to use a lav mic. This is the Shure MVL. You do have to be careful which lav mic you use because some have radio interference with the transmitters. And of course, to find all these products, I'll provide links in the description so you can find the exact right model. It's all going to be documented down there. I'm going to switch out my drone in this video to the Mavic 3 Classic. Previously, I've talked about the Mavic 3, and this is basically a more affordable way to get all of that image quality. I've done a detailed video breaking down everything about the Mavic 3, and this is basically a more affordable way to get into that same image quality. It has the same large sensor from Hasselblad, but removes the zoom lens to save you a little bit of money. But I'm really excited about using DJI's remote because the screen isn't going to go dark in the middle of using it, which my phone always does. This very small one is actually a pretty exciting upgrade. Usually I bring a little 20-watt USB-C charger for my phone and whatever else. This one from Nomad is actually 30 watts. And the great thing is it's only a little bit bigger than those 5-watt chargers that Apple made. And I'm very excited to say that Nomad is sponsoring this video because everything they make is awesome, like very well crafted, precisely made accessories. Which ties in perfectly to another new thing I'm bringing, the Apple Watch Ultra, definitely the most beautiful Apple Watch there's been yet. So if you're gonna pick up an Ultra, I definitely recommend getting a nice strap to go with it. This is their modern leather band, and it's not just made of scraps. This is Harween leather made in Chicago. They've been working with leather for a long time, so they really know how to do it right. They've been making Apple Watch bands since 2015. They also make wallets. Like, they really understand how to craft materials into a premium final product. Whichever model of Apple Watch you're using, one of their bands is gonna be the perfect fit for it because the choice of materials and attention to detail is exactly what you would expect from an Apple product. So it's not gonna feel out of place at all. It is so carefully crafted. While I'm on the road, I'm probably gonna wear one of their sport bands because, you know, I don't wanna put too much wear on the nicer ones. And then if I go out for dinner or something, this titanium model is just beautiful. Like, the most amazing part of this is the way the magnet connects on it. It's just like this perfect, delicate clasp. Let's listen. So head to the link in the description. They have a great tool for selecting the exact color that's gonna match the Apple Watch you've already got, not to mention a ton of other premium Apple accessories. Everything they make is just so well done. I'm really proud to have Nomad as a sponsor. So again, check out that link in the description. Let's keep going. You know, I've still got these two cameras sitting here. I think it's time we talk about the elephant in the room. I've been shooting with Canon forever. This is the R5. We bring it with us all over the place. I've taken tons of photos with it. And I was shooting my video on it while I was in Thailand as well. Now, I think the video turned out pretty nice. It looks good. I'm happy with the result. But to give myself a little credit, I kind of feel like I saved it in the edit. There was a lot of mediocre and bad shots coming out of the R5. Something that's driven me crazy for a long time is it only shoots C-Log 3, which is not great for color grading, and the image stabilization totally let me down. I was shooting everything handheld, so I expected a little bit of movement, but the wobble and the warping, like, it was pretty ugly and not stable at all. So it should be no surprise that naturally that would make me very excited to be bringing the Lumix S5 II on this next trip. If you haven't already heard, Panasonic Lumix has the best in-body stabilization of any of them, and there are so many things that they've been doing right that make me want to move away from Canon for their compact shooting options. The C70 is still my go-to, which I'm shooting all this A-roll on. For more cinema stuff, it has built-in NDs, but the Lumix, it's killing it in a million ways. It shoots 6K open gate, something that even Sony doesn't do. It's got the flip screen, finally has phase detect autofocus, so it's good. And these lenses, I'll talk about them in 2 seconds, but they do some really great stuff. I've been loving it. I've been shooting my YouTube videos on it. And right now I think it's either Sony or Lumix if you want to pick up one of these like smaller mirrorless cameras for video. They are both killing it. On this trip, I need to bring the R5 because I still need to shoot photos and the RAW support isn't out yet for the S5 II. So unfortunately I can't open the RAW files. That means I kind of need to be juggling both of those, but that leads to a little accessory that's going to help. This is the Sigma MC21, which is just, a basic lens adapter, but it does some pretty incredible things. You've seen lens adapters before, so I think you know what's about to happen. So now I can use my Canon lenses on here because I have a whole bunch of them, but the big surprise is that the autofocus actually works really well. Back a few years ago, I was using Canon for photos and Sony for my video, and I tried to do the same thing, adapting the EF glass, and the autofocus was just not reliable. I couldn't count on it, so I never ended up doing it in the end. This actually works, surprisingly, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Bring the 24-70 is my Lumix zoom lens, and then I'm gonna show you here. These are the other lenses I'm bringing. It's pretty cool. So I think these are the 4 I've decided on. I'm gonna bring the 18mm, 35mm, 50mm over here. And this is the 70 to 200mm f4, which is one of those certified by Leica lenses. So it is part of their pro line. This is as sharp as it gets. I'm excited for this lens. First of all these lenses are 1.8. They're very sharp. They're extremely usable. They're lightweight, pretty reasonably priced too. So that's all things to like. But what I really like is that they work perfectly with the RS3 Mini from DJI. So I've been using the RS3 Pro for a while now. It's pretty great, but size-wise, I could fit it in luggage, but I couldn't really pack it into a backpack. So the problem is I'd need to really commit to carrying a gimbal all day if I wanted to bring it. This is actually small enough to fit in a backpack, very compact. I'm excited that this exists, period. Let's just get this balanced. All right, looking good. Oh, I've been leaving my gimbal home a lot lately. I'm actually really excited to bring one again. But here's the great part. I want to switch from a 50mm lens to, let's say, my 18. I just put the gimbal to sleep, pop off the lens, put on the new lens, and look at that. It's already balanced. We can just wake it up and we're good to go with the new lens. This is like not usually how gimbals work. You have to spend all this time rebalancing if you ever want to change. So now with the Lumix line of primes, you can be switching between prime lenses on the go, no need to rebalance. These Lumix lenses don't breathe. I mean, I just think it's so well thought out for filmmakers, especially how these Lumix lenses work. I am very excited to put them to use. There'll be a lot more talk about the S5 II. After traveling with it, I'll be able to do a better review than just in studio. If you want to know what I think so far though, go to the second channel because I've talked about it on the podcast and done a build with the Condor Blue rig there. Way more information about it. Let's move on. A fun addition, I don't know how much I'm going to use it, but I got that Axoon adapter, which basically goes on the top of any camera and turns your iPhone into a monitor, but also a recorder. So whatever you're doing, you can have a nice big screen to watch things and also record directly to the phone. Finally gonna upgrade the Camlink 4K. I just use it for podcast interviews or anytime I wanna run my camera into the computer. There's a lot of reasons to do that, especially if you wanna maybe monitor yourself and you don't have a bigger screen nearby. But here's the problem, it's USB-A. Who uses that? I mean, my computer is not, so you gotta put an adapter on it. That adapter is weak. I mean, this is just not a good connection. It's not reliable. So I was searching around and found out that Condor Blue actually offers a USB-C to HDMI adapter so you can easily plug your camera right into your computer. It only supports 1080 instead of 4K. That doesn't matter for me because I only stream or do anything like that in 1080. So yeah, so I feel like I can trust this a lot more than this. Whenever I have room in my bag, I like to bring a film camera. So on this one, I'm bringing the Yashica T4 Super D. I actually don't think I'd recommend this. It's gotten really expensive on eBay. Works well, but it's 35 millimeters. I'd rather be wider at like 28. And there's no way to set exposure compensation. I like to overexpose Portra 400 a little bit brighter, and there's nothing I can do to override it with this camera. So I'm actually looking to replace this, but I do recommend bring a little point and shoot with you. It's super fun. I took so many photos on our travels last year that are some of my favorite photos just because the way that film makes you take less. So the only ones you take on film are usually better. Since none of these cameras have built-in NDs, I'm bringing my Polar Pro variable ND. I do think it's the best VND you can get for the money, but I don't really like variable NDs. They can screw up color. So I'm bringing a few fixed NDs as well. These are from the camera store. Not that expensive, but they do perform better in terms of image quality. They're just not as flexible. For all these HDMI accessories, I'm gonna need a cable. So I'm gonna bring this weird springy purple one from Condor Blue. And that's my camera bag. It'll probably be a bag and a half, actually. I'm gonna need a little extra space. But I hope this was helpful to you guys. I'm gonna talk about this a lot more on the podcast. Head over to the second channel, check things out there, and follow along, subscribe, because this trip will be documented and I'm gonna create something pretty from it. I don't know what yet, but I guess stay tuned to find out what it is. See you later, guys.